Hi, I'm Judith Razieli, and I wrote a story about a dog. I love animals, and so it came to me to write this story. It's called A Minnesota Stray. Simcha is not an ordinary dog, but it is mine. Right now I'm sitting by a cozy fireplace. The fire is crackling with warmth, but I can hear the wind outdoors wailing through the trees. A shiver goes up my spine when I think of the cold, unforgiving wind and the memories I still have of being cold and hungry. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me explain. I somewhat remember my first few months of life. I had 4 siblings. I used to play with them. We would pretend to nip each other and would chase each other. It was lots of fun. Mom would cuff us if we got too rough. One day, I was examined by whom Mom called humans. I was squeezed, touched, and poked. I felt uncomfortable. The humans spoke a lot, and then they picked me up and took me away from my family. I was not happy about being separated from my family, so I whimpered. The problem was that the more I cried, the more the humans would speak with a harsh tone to me. When I arrived at my unfamiliar destination, everything seemed strange. I was given a cardboard box with some torn up towels to lay on. Believe me, I was frightened and confused. I missed my brothers, my sister, and my mom so much. Little by little, I began to adjust to my new home and some of the routines. However, it seemed like I did a lot of things wrong. When left alone for hours at a time, I needed to chew on something. Seems like I picked up the wrong somethings. Sometimes my bladder got so full I thought I would explode. When I couldn't hold it any longer, I would find one spot to relieve myself. The humans didn't seem to understand my needs. They would say, bad dog, to me again and again. The humans did feed me and play a little with me. I grew to care about them and find love for them in my heart. The trouble was they seemed so angry with me. Then one day, the dominant human grabbed me. I was tossed into a thing that goes from place to place. We rode for a long time. I looked at the trees as it whizzed by me. It was fun to be in the moving thing. Then it stopped moving. The human got out and removed me from the moving thing and dropped me abruptly on the ground. I was excited as I could sniff all the wonderful smells coming from the earth and grass. But then the human stepped back into the moving thing, closed the door, and drove off without me. This must be a mistake, I thought. Oh, how could I be left alone like this? I waited and waited for the human to return for me. The sun slipped into the earth, but the human did not return. I began to get hungry and thirsty. I began to bark and bark. Still no one came. As night fell, it became very dark. I closed my eyes and tried to sleep, but there was a chill in the air, and the leaves from the trees kept falling on me. I could not sleep. I was very scared and lonely. The next morning, as the sun arrived back into the sky, I believed that the dominant human would appear. I stayed close to the spot where I was dropped off. My hunger got the best of me, so I began to sniff for food. I didn't know where or how to find food or water. For that matter, I didn't know how to survive without the help of a human. I began walking along a path. Suddenly I heard the sounds of humans talk. My ears perked up and my heart began to race. I spotted humans sitting at a table. They were eating. One of them called out to me. I ran over to the table to be near them. Nice doggy, one said. He threw some scraps of food to me, which I devoured. But they soon left, and once more I was alone. Little by little I learned how to find food and water. Either I would wait for scraps of food that the humans offered me, or sometimes I could catch a rabbit. I was hungry most of the time. The days began getting shorter and the nights longer. The trees lost their leaves and frost blanketed the ground. Well, let's see. One day, white flakes fell from the sky. The ground turned white and it became harder for me to find food. I could not understand why I was abandoned. I wanted to please my humans, but I didn't always know or understand what they wanted from me. The days and nights came and went. I finally had to accept that my human would not return for me. My hunger forced me to seek out food and water anywhere. I walked for miles and miles. I walked so far that the pads on my paws began to bleed. Then, just as it was getting dark, I saw lights. I gravitated toward the lights and came to a place where there were many humans. The humans were walking and talking. Some of them were in a hurry and running. Sometimes, if one of them saw me, they would pat me on the head. Sometimes I was given food. I did learn to survive, but I was cold and unhappy. These were scary times for me, as some of the humans would chase me and throw rocks at me. I was sad. I only wanted to love and be loved. I had dreams of my brothers and sisters. I had dreams of my mom, and I remembered how I was warm and fed. I longed for those happy times. I stayed in areas close to where humans lived. I roamed the streets and alleys during the day. I tried to find shelter at night. I would sleep anywhere that I could find protection from the freezing cold and snow. Whenever I approached a human to beg for food, I would hear them say the word stray and then point to me. I didn't know what that meant. I thought that was my name, Stray. I also thought it must be bad because no one wanted me. Then it happened. As I was foraging around for food, I heard the sounds of laughter coming from some small humans. I saw them playing in the snow. They were throwing balls of snow at each other. One of the humans was very little. The little one was all bundled up in clothing and not playing with the others. The attention of this little one was for some reason elsewhere. The small human began to walk away from the others. No one noticed, but I did. I saw how this small human was walking to the place where there was once flowing water. Something inside of me told me to keep an eye on the little one. As the human walked out on the frozen water, I heard a crack and then a scream. The other humans who had been playing came rushing near the frozen water, and now they too were screaming. It looked like the little one had fallen into a hole. I saw the human's arm waving, and I heard it scream even more. I knew help was needed. I went out to the slippery water very slowly. I inched toward the small human. I saw that the little one had fallen through the ice and into the frigid water. Inch by inch, on my haunches, I went to this unfortunate creature. The human was screaming so much that it was unable to understand that I wanted it to grab me. Finally, I clamped down on its soggy jacket and dragged it out of the hole. I could hear this crackling below, so I had to be careful. I dragged the human off the frozen water and onto solid ground. I covered the human with my body to keep its little body from shivering. I did what I had to do. It was the right thing. I, too, was cold and shivering. Crystals of ice clung to my coat. Soon I heard voices of many humans. Someone scooped me up and held me. I was hugged and wrapped in a warm blanket. There were lots of commotion around me. I was placed in the moving thing, given food and spoken to in a gentle manner. Next, I was lifted out of the moving thing and brought into where the humans live. A number of humans gathered around me. They kept patting me and offering me food. I was so happy. I felt loved and wanted. That was my past. Today, as I sit in front of the fireplace, I enjoy the warmth that the fire gives. But even more wonderful, enjoyable, and nourishing is the warmth of love given to me by the humans I now live with and who have me a member of their family. Being a stray dog was awful. No dog should ever have to go through what I did. Sometimes I have nightmares of those times, have heard that some strays have it worse than I did. I have even heard that some unfortunate strays are taken to places where awful things are done to them. My kind humans gave me the name Simcha. It is a Hebrew name that means joy. I like my name. You see, my human family is very happy with me. I see that I give them a lot of joy. I too is joyful, and I know I will never be a stray again. You like that? It's a nice story about a dog No one dog should be a stray.